What's up, guys? So today we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit of everything, kind of like how we've done here in the past. We're gonna be doing some action figures, comic books, and it's gonna be a lot of stuff that I've read in the last couple of months. I think since the last live that I did back in January, so there's a lot of space, so I had a lot of time to read on stuff, as well as books and figures that I've acquired, well, since January. So there's a lot to cover. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but let's go ahead and get started. I think we're going to kick it off with the action figures. I mean, at this point, most of them you've probably already seen in my photos and what have you, so we're just going to go through those rather quickly, my opinions on them, as well as some stuff that I just recently got, well, today, if you saw, the Power Rangers Lightning Connect collection. So let's get started. I think first off, we're gonna go through these guys. So we have the newest Neca alien figures right here. We have Night Cougar as well as the Panther. I mean, I don't have much to say other than I really like the two of them. I think they share the exact same body mold, just different paint apps. So they're identical in my opinion. I think they are the same body mold, but they are really nice figures altogether. So I'm going to showcase the front, inside right here, and we have the Panther alien right here. So I want to say it's kind of like your basic aliens figures, you know, bendy wire at the tail, except the two of these have like a little magnetic parasite creature that attaches to the back and is supposed to just spring off according to the package. So I thought these were neat. I mean, just like most of the other aliens figures, so thought I'd scoop those up. Some of the other figures that I've acquired also along the Neca line will include Dialogue, haven't done any photos of him just yet, but I really like the effect pieces that he has, or just like his accessories, really. So he does have a little suitcase that's filled with money that I just think it's really neat to have. So got him. Following your boy Bronx right here. Solid figure, not much going for him himself, hence why he was packaged with Goliath's folded wings, as you all already know. But I'm kind of hoping that at least the Gargoyles line does what correct me if I'm wrong, the Turtles line did, where they have like accessory packs with like pizza and just like, I think like alternate weapon holding hands or heads all together. If they do some kind of accessories pack for the Gargoyles, I think that would be really cool. I mean, obviously, right? Instead of just having them splayed with the wings, if they can at least include these folded wings for the rest of the figures, if they don't already come with them, which from what it looks like, none of them are going to come with the folded wings, and that would actually be really, really cool. I'm sure collectors would appreciate that. And Demona. Right here. Also really solid accessories. 2 weapons. This little book that she brings right here, which does open up. I also like the fact that her earrings actually like separate little pieces, actually look like, well, earrings are like a little metal, and they hang off her. So I thought that was a pretty nice touch that they included with her. So I think that's all when it comes to the NECA stuff. Most of this, as mentioned, I haven't really gotten around to shooting too much, but maybe in the future, who knows. Imports. I got a handful of them, not too many this time around, and as mentioned, you might have already seen them in the photo. So number one, the Mafex Superman. I was pretty fortunate when it came to this guy because I woke up one morning and I was just like getting ready for work and I saw that the pre-order, he just came back into stock. It wasn't even the pre-orders opened up. I think he just happened to be in stock again briefly, and within the next like 20 minutes he was gone. So I was like, gotta get him. What's up, Plastic? So picked this guy up. I really like him a lot. Two things. Personally, I feel like he's got a lot of muscle definition here at his sides, so like his arms don't really go down too much, so it's kind of like his arms are like out here almost constantly, which to me looks a little funny. And I guess the second thing, which is also understandable based off the fact that this is from Batman Hush, he doesn't come with a smiling face. He comes with just stoic or just pissed off red heat vision eyes. So if he would have come with a smiling face, that would have topped it off. But then again, like I said, this is from a Batman story, so understandable. Next, let's go with these guys over here. Hold on. We have Kamen Rider Revi and Revice. Now, I'm going to open this guy up. I'm going to show a point that I have to make with him as well. In a way, it's like kind of like the Superman. Superman, well, by default, he can't get his arms like lower than like here. He can't stand flush. When it comes to Revi, can't really lift his arms all the way up because of the shoulder guards. I want to say maybe that's as much as the arms go up unless you flip them, of course, but that's as high as they're going to go up on their own, which to me is a bit of a hindrance, but whatever. I still like him. Really nice looking figure. He doesn't come with accessories, just a whole bunch of different hands, but that's where Vice comes in, because they knew you're going to buy the two of them together. So once you get Vice, he is the one that's going to come with all the extras. By that I mean you will have the gun and axe weapons, which are right here. So Vice comes with those. He comes with an additional stamp, and of course his alt hands. And I gotta say, when it comes to this dude, he feels much more flexible. I mean, Kamen Rider Revi over there, he's completely armored up, right? But this guy, because of the fact that he's not armored up to his degree, he just has like little bits and pieces right here. Like he just feels more malleable in your hands. Like you can move him around more. Like he can just do more dynamic poses, it feels like. And I really like that about him as well. I think I actually had more fun messing around with him than Main Boy over there. But this dude is real solid. I honestly think you can't get one without the other. I mean, for sure. They are both the main rider. So we have these guys, and to top it off with the Figuarts, I think we're gonna go with, let's see, I guess the most recent Figuarts. Let's go with the most recent one. It was Krillin. I never had the original, so I can't really compare the two, but having seen them, I can tell you that this guy just looks better, personally, right? He has no whites in his eyes, which is kind of like the Krillin that I know. It's just have like the same flesh tone in his eye area, so I do like that. And I feel like he has quite a bit of articulation, even though he's like a smaller body, which, you know, is neat. His head does come like when you pop it off, it's like the drum right there. It just pops right back in, easy. And he comes with a total of 4 heads, which is nice, on top of the sensu bean holding bag. So I like that. So I highly recommend getting you a Krillin if you don't have one. So I'm trying to complete like the core team of Z fighters right now. So I did need this guy. I am happy. And next off, the last 2 figures are both Goku. So I'm going to start with the one that I had the issues with, which unfortunately is supposed to be the event exclusive right here. This guy, man. And I have noticed that I'm not the only one with these problems. So I don't even want to mess around with him too much because I fear that something's going to happen on camera with him, with my luck. So, solid looking figure, alright. I pre-ordered him as soon as he was announced, so I didn't pay scalper fees, etc. But, man. Again, I'm scared to kind of touch this guy. So, beautiful, shiny Kaioken. Now, the first thing that I noticed when I took this guy out of the packaging, and this is probably where a lot of you guys had the similar problem, was I wanted to head swap. So, I popped his head off. And when I did so, the neck peg, so it's supposed to actually, the peg itself, 2 ball joints, the one that connects into the neck as well as the one that's sticking outwards that is into the head. So the whole thing came out of the neck. That means it wasn't secure as properly as it should have been. Otherwise, when you pop off the head, it's not supposed to come out as one solid piece, right? Hence why you can head swap in most cases. Like, that should not be an issue, except in this case it was. It was not secure into the neck. So the peg itself was stuck inside of the head. Not really supposed to happen that way. So I had to very carefully take tweezers slash, I want to say tweezers. I didn't use pliers. Pliers would have been too much. So I took the tweezers to pop it out of the inside of the head itself to then try and push it as gently as I could into actual neck itself, which was a struggle. It was really in there. And that, you fear breaking this guy, right? He's supposed to be an exclusive. I would have thought the exclusive would have been, a little bit more premium when it comes to the manufacturing and what have you, but no. Thank you for joining. Thank you. So that was the first problem, just popping it out of the head to then gently push it into the neck itself. Having said and completed that, I was able to do the head swaps that I wanted, which were to try the original Kaioken Goku, that I believe was also an event exclusive for San Diego 2017. I don't have it right next to me, so I don't remember exactly. So I tried with that Kaioken Goku, and then I tried with the more recent Kaioken Goku release that came out, which is much more red. It's just red. And honestly, both heads work very well. If you use the newer one, the head is secure on there, but the skin tone, as mentioned, is much more red than this one's current body. What's up, dude? Thank you for joining. So, having said that, the new Kaioken, a little too red for my taste, but I went ahead and tried it out as well as the older Goku. The older Goku, his head is a little bit looser, but I still think it works just fine. And the skin tone, in comparison with the newer version, looks really good. And I'm super happy with that. Super happy with it. Like I said, it's a little loose, but it's still good. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. But, yeah. Did some photos of him. And the second problem that I have faced, too shiny. I think he looks good, bro. I think he looks good. I think he looks nice. So, the second problem that I face, other than the whole neck peg situation, is his damn hair. Like, this whole piece right here actually just fell off as I was messing around with him. Like, it's not supposed to happen either. So, that's not too much of a problem in comparison to the neck peg, but I did secure it with a little bit of adhesive and whatnot, and it has not fallen off again. But yeah, 2 problems of an event exclusive, and I'm nervous to continue to mess around with him and have something else happen. I mean, even though I secured the neck peg, I don't know the camera's catching that, but he's creaky. I'm nervous to mess around with him some more. But other than that, he's a dope figure. I was trying to compare it as well with the original SSB Goku, the standard release. I think it was standard one, just to see if the face had more detail per se. And I initially thought that was the case. I don't think it is. The only other thing that I noticed is that this one's pupils have like a little bit of a fleck of white in them. I'm assuming just to showcase that it's like a different transformation. Nah, I don't need another one. But yeah, solid. Just a bit unfortunate circumstances that surround this guy. So, okay. Well, moving on. The last figure art that I want to talk about, which as mentioned is another Goku, will be the Super Saiyan 4. And I think this is my favorite figure art that I've gotten recently. Probably favorite overall when it comes to just Dragon Ball figure art. Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Now, he brings a lot of stuff. He has 4 different faceplates, several hands, including one to hold the ×10 Kamehameha effect piece, which is super, super cool. Now, it seems that Vegeta brings a total of 3 faces from what they announced, just plain stoic. I think it was a gritting teeth one, open mouth. But Goku's already got to be by at least 1 face, as well as the effect part that Vegeta comes with doesn't look like it's all that. It's kind of just like one ball. I would have hoped it had more to it. Doesn't seem that it does. Coffee. But yeah, I did a comparison photo between this guy, just like I put it up in my story, and the amount of detail that this figure has when it comes to, I think, any other one that I own and have seen so far is insane. Like the lines above the brow, just like right here in the forehead, his open mouth when he's got like the dimple areas right here, really nice, and the chin as well. Even his open mouth head piece right here, faceplate should I say, it's like detailed inwards. I think like the Goku blue one, it doesn't have as much detail. It's not like more dug in and like open mouth per se. Like this one's got it all. And the hands that he has to hold the effect that he comes with, I mean, they hold it in place perfectly because, well, it's like pegs. So, oh, he does have the same articulation. Sheesh. I need to check on that. I missed a pre-order for that Gohan, so like I think I missed it twice. I think Big Bad had put it up again for like 2 seconds. I was like, oh god! And by the time I clicked on it, it was red again, sold out. So I missed. But yeah, his effect holding ones come with a peg that go right into the effect part, which is super nice. I definitely prefer that they come with like an extra set of hands to do that, just because number one, I think this is the first figure art that I have noticed that the hands for the Kamehameha just look so much better. Like, here's his hands, right? What I mean by that is, like, for this particular figure, and I think Krillin, I noticed it with Krillin as well, for his beam effect hands, his hands are like this, right? Like more relaxed. Like the older ones, they're like the knuckles are just like right in there, and I really just don't like the way these look. And on top of it, since they don't have pegs to hold the effect piece, like you're kind of just supposed to rest the effect piece into like his curled up fingers. So I really don't like the older hands. These newer ones though, they're more relaxed and they allow the room for at least the additional sets to have these pegs to hold those pieces are really, really nice. And honestly, Super Saiyan 4 is just too dope. Like, this is such a good looking form. I have always loved Super Saiyan 4. And I know GT gets a lot of crap, but it is still a part of my childhood. Like, going to the video store in Puerto Rico and getting those DVDs for Dragon Ball Z. We started with VHSs, moved on to DVDs when DVDs started becoming hot, and then finished Dragon Ball Z, and then GT was coming out, and I was like, what? There's more? No. So GT will always have that soft spot in my heart, just for the nostalgia, going to the video store and getting them, renting them out. But it's a solid figure, and I'm really excited for Vegeta when he comes out. And hopefully, I know what's going to happen. We all do, for Gogeta. And maybe even Vegeta. Who knows? Maybe they'll go to Xenoverse version or something. Like Goku's not bigger? Like his body proportions ain't big enough to your taste? I don't know. I think he's a little bit bigger. He seems to have more muscle definition. Alrighty. So that's it when it comes to the Figuarts. The next two things when it comes to action figures are, I literally just walked out of these. Walked away with these a couple of minutes ago. So we have Ninjetti Blue, Ninjetti Black. Now, these aren't the only Lightning Collection figures that I have come across since my last live session, which was back in like January. I have also found Ninjetti White, which, man, he's something, right? Like, I picked the one that I thought was the best looking one off the peg, brought him home. Little did I know the backside was filthy. Like, he was just stained and grimy, like nasty. I was able to clean him up, no problem. But I do find it kind of annoying that you're paying a little bit more for these Ninjetti ones. I mean, they do come with extra hands, heads, effect piece, but it seems like they're sacrificing that for the quality control. Like, even these that I just got, they had several, at least, I think the total that they probably had on the shelf for each blue and black was maybe like 5 or 6. And they all had problems. I mean, I had Alex help me look through all of them just to make sure that at least the ones that I walked out with looked decent enough, or if I had to do any touch-ups, that it was something that I could do easily. You know, like with the White Ranger, like I said, like he just looked really dirty, so I had to scrub him down, which was a piece of cake. He did have some areas like on the belt that needed to be touched up with black, so I did that, as well as some areas I think on his arms and legs with gold that I needed to touch up, so did that as well. But man, when it came to blue and black, there were some problems. So even though I picked the ones that looked the nicest from the front, I fear something bad has happened to the backside. So let's take a look. Now, I'm really worried for them. I did have a discount when I got them, so I'm happy about that, but that still doesn't make the fear go away. Alright, so alright, so here we have blue. Now, I didn't notice this with the black range that they had there. I did notice it a lot with the blue, and it's probably because of the plastic that the color of the plastic that he's made of is just like real interesting. I don't know the word to describe it. It's just, it looks like a struggle bus. I mean, look at the joints. The blue plastic, the way it's like chopped off from like the runner molds, and it just looks super stressed out. And same when it comes to the front right here, like it just looks really stressed out. Mind you, this was probably the best one that they had there. The other ones had some really sloppy looking paint jobs on top of these joint looking issues. Like the emblems were just like slashed. There was a lot of like splatter along the belts and even on the cuffs. So thank you for joining. Thank you. So overall, this one doesn't look too bad even from the back side. Like I said, the joint areas just look really, really bad, and that's something that has me concerned as well. After posing him, he might snap. So just got to be a little extra careful, but that's got me on edge. And his alternate heads actually look pretty good. The other ones did have some blue just all in the hair and what have you. So, blue's looking good. Okay. I'm going to leave him like this because I do want to mess around with him later. Okay. So, black. Well, the good thing with the Black Ranger is, well, he's black. His color scheme is black, so anything that is wrong should be easily concealed. I don't see any stress marks when it comes to like the joint areas, which is nice. Yeah, this Black Ranger is looking good. Unlike the other ones as mentioned, the other Black Rangers that they had, same problems as blue, just a lot more paint defects along the belt, as well as emblem and just paint splatter along the head. But this one does really look to be the best one. The only thing that I would say is, and this is something that I did notice, he does have like gold splatter right around here where it shouldn't be, but that is an easy fix. Might be able to just wipe that off, and if not, just paint over it. Not a problem. Okay, so I'm happy with the ones that I have. The White Ranger was just filthy though. He had a lot of like black gray material all over him, as well as like for whatever reason, like he had like pinkish red tones all over, and luckily that came off as well, but he was on another level. Now I did also find like in space pink, Zeo yellow, some of those other ones. They did have the in space blue, with this like little jet thingy. I don't know what it's called, this glider, but I didn't really want to get it. I didn't see like the price for that piece of plastic, just didn't seem worth it. I mean, I still need in space blue, so it was between getting that one or the one that comes with the Psycho Silver Ranger, which I guess might as well just get an additional figure, even though I don't really want the Psycho Ranger to begin with. But well, we'll see which one goes on sale first, and then I'll snag in space blue, and then that just leaves blue, well, and silver. I need blue and silver to complete in space. Okay. I also on Fishboy, and this guy is so good. He has some crazy articulation. Like, he's got some crazy ankle pivot. Like, his mouth just opens up super wide, like up to the point like you can push this as far back as you can before it actually pops off. But that's the beauty of it, because he can have like a super wide screaming face, and he's just really dope. you could even have him like doing like rider kicks and what have you. Like, he's just like super articulated. I almost want to get like 2 more of this guy, like when he goes on sale. Hopefully maybe he will go on sale, like crop up 2 more and have like a little 3-man army for Fish Boy, because this guy's just a good monster right here. Like, when it came to, was it King Sphinx, he was just missing paint all over his face and some other details throughout, which I went ahead and applied and what have you. But this one's my favorite one so far. Really, really good. Okay, so next is the books. So since doing the last live, which was back in January, I've gotten several other collected editions, deluxe hardcovers, as well as Omnis. I think since January I've gotten about 16 Omnis. Not all of them have been touched as of yet. I have been reading a lot though, between the Omnis and some other books and what have you. So I believe volumes 7, 8, 9, and 10 of Berserk were acquired since the last session I did of these. So thank you for joining. Thank you. So book 7, 8, 9, 10 were acquired since January. I've read all of them back to back. This is my first read through of Berserk. Never read it before. I think I decided to start it just a couple months before Kentaro Miura actually passed. So I am really enjoying my read through for it, but solid stuff. Also acquired, it was like volume 16, Full Metal, the Full Metal edition, should I say. There are 2 more volumes scheduled to come out. One of them is supposed to be coming out within the next week or week and a half, which is volume 17, and then by the end of this year we have volume 18 scheduled to release, which will round out the Full Metal Alchemist Full Metal hardcover editions, which is fantastic. So that's really, really good. I have watched both the original Full Metal and Full Metal Brotherhood. I have never read the manga, so I'm waiting to just read the manga, even though I know what happens, until I have all 18 volumes of these. So by the end of this year, I will jump onto that. Next, we have Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater. This was something that I didn't even know was coming out, to be frank. I had no clue this was slated to come out. And when I found out, I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm excited because this contained, I think it was 3 separate volumes that were released in Japan, all in one hardcover here for us in the US. And this collects an assortment of his works before and even after Dragon Ball, including, let's see here, I think it was called Dragon Boy, if I recall correctly, which was kind of like a precursor to, well, Dragon Ball. Like, you just see a lot of similarities in it. Yeah, here it is. Dragon Boy. Right there. Just a solid read if you want to just check out some of the other stuff that he did altogether. Here's pink. But this is a lot of fun. This is really cool to own. Next, we have Gideon Falls, Book 1. This is a supernatural, horror, science fiction kind of combination by Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. I kind of just wanted to jump into it without knowing too much. I just kind of like read what some people had to say, like real briefly, saying that it's a trip, and it really was. So just jumped in, placed the order. Most of these books I got off Target. Target generally does some really good sales when it comes to books of all kinds, like just some crazy percentages off of them, or buy two get one free kind of things. So you have to keep an eye out for. I was really hoping that they were going to do that sale again around Mother's Day, and they did not. So that was a bummer. But fingers crossed that they do that sale around Father's Day next month. So we'll see. But yeah, science fiction, horror. Volume 1 is The Legend of the Black Marn. I don't want to go into too much depth when it comes to this because it's trippy. It's really trippy, and I feel like it'll be a good surprise if you just jump into it without really knowing anything other than it's science fiction, horror, mystery, etc., etc., etc. So just go into it, right? Okay. Next, this isn't one of the Omnis that I just got, but I did finish reading it a couple months ago, and it's Gotham Central, right? So, Ed Brubaker, Ed Rucka, this is the entire series for Gotham Central. Now, Ed Brubaker, he making some bangers. Like, he does some good stuff, and I really enjoyed this, but I don't know if it was the how old this was or what have you. Like, it's a little, or maybe even just a genre, like comparing it to like Criminal. I mean, that is more grounded in real life in comparison to this, of course, when you have the tie-ins of superheroes. But I didn't enjoy it to the degree that I thought I was going to enjoy it. Let's put it that way. It's still really good, but I think maybe in the back of my head, I'm just like, where's Batman? Even though I knew, like, hey, don't think that this is not a Batman book. In the back of my head, I was like, where are the superheroes at? But it is still really good, mind you. So that was one of the Omnis that I finally was able to go ahead and finish reading. Now, on the topic of Ed Brubaker, we're going to go to the next one, which is Criminal, Volume 2. Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips. Now, this is a reprint that released, I think it was last year around May. The first one had been out of print for quite some time. I think it might have been under, like, I think it was under, like, Icon was the publisher. It wasn't even Image. But so the last one that I needed to complete the series when it comes to the oversized deluxe hardcovers. So I'm glad to have this. I do want to do another reread for Criminal eventually once I finish up some of the Omnis that I haven't even touched yet. But I'm super stoked to have this in my possession finally. I was scared that it was going to go out of print since I hadn't picked it up within the last year. So have this now. And when it also comes to Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, we have their most recent work, which is The Ghost in You from their Reckless series. Now, this particular book, this is book 4. I believe when they originally had this in conception, it was supposed to be 3 books total. And this is book 4, and from what it shows in the back of this one, they have a book 5. Yep. Follow Me Down, which is set to come out in October. So, really good stuff. As mentioned, like when it comes to like their Image works, it's more grounded in real life. So just crime, mystery, noir type stories, and just written so damn well. I highly recommend you check out anything by these dudes. Anything. So, there's that. Alrighty. I also picked up Oblivion Song Volume 2. I still need to get Volume 1, but like I said, when they have these sales, I just kind of get what they have that I need and roll with it, and I'll get whatever I'm missing later on. So, Oblivion Song Volume 2, Robert Kirkman, creator of The Walking Dead. I have not finished this series. I believe I stopped reading somewhere after Volume 2 finishes. So I think there's one more deluxe hardcover being Volume 3, which is supposed to come out this year. And then that's the overall story. So we'll be getting that soon, see how that ends. And speaking of Robert Kirkman, we have Volume 4, deluxe hardcover for Outcast. This is the last volume in the series. There's 4 oversized deluxe hardcovers right here. So I think you have Volume 1. Nice. So book 4, I want to say I never finished the series either. I when I was reading it initially, it was still ongoing, and I think I have read technically the first maybe 2, maybe 3 volumes. I really have to go back and see where I left off, maybe even just restart it because it has been years. But I liked it. You know, it wasn't too bad. It was kind of a weird transition because it did start off like mystery, horror, like that kind of vibe, like, and then it kind of just went like, superpowers, and it's just like, I see. I don't know if I really wanted it to have superpowers, so to speak, in the series, but it's still good. So we will finish that in the future. Okay. Let's see. I think that's it when it comes to the deluxe hardcovers. So we're jumping into the Omnis, and as mentioned, most of the stuff that I'm going to showcase right now I haven't gotten around to. Actually, another one that not a part of this order. This is one that I got before the stuff that I'm going to showcase, but I did finish it. We have Nightwing. We have the Prince of Gotham Omnibus right here. Kyle Higgins, Eddie Barrows, and several other artists and writers. So I finished this book, and I was a bit disappointed. I don't have anything to compare it to when it comes to Nightwing, just because I haven't really read any standalone Nightwing other than this. But with that being said, I did think that it kind of lacked it. I found that like most of the issues started off identically, which was recapping literally everything that the story had come to thus far in the first like how many pages, like recap. It's like, we know. I mean, granted, I understand like the books were coming out monthly, maybe the audience needed that recap, but at the same time it's like, did it really need it in almost every single issue? That's how I felt. But it had some good stories, you know, not great. They were just good. A lot of them really were pretty boring, right? And quite a bit of them also had just tie-ins with other series at the time, like Batman, Batgirl, I believe. So as a standalone Nightwing book, I was just kind of like, all right, that was okay. A little lackluster, but that is one of the Omnis that I did finish as well. Oh yeah, there is another one here that is not a part of this particular collection, but I finished it. We have Batman by Snyder and Capullo, Volume 2. I have already read the entirety of this series, but of course I needed to get the Omni, so I reread both volumes, and this was just fantastic. This had the entirety of the second half of their run, so liked it. So that the Grayson Omni is getting reprinted. Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't look into it, but that's good to know because I was wanting to try and snag it so that I can jump into the Rebirth Nightwing. So that's good to know. I'll probably have to get that then. Okay. All right. So the next Omnis that I'm going to talk about we'll segue into the new stuff. So, first thing, The Flash by Jeff Johns, Volume 1. This is not a part of this series of stuff that I recently picked up, but I have to talk about this because I basically read all of The Flash. I mean, from the point that at least this kicks off in Volume 1 by Jeff Johns, all the way to now, like the current stuff. Like, I just did not stop reading. Like, I needed to know what happened. Like, I just got super invested. So, Volume 1 contains The Flash 164 to 191, The Flash of Our Worlds at War number 1, The Flash Iron Heights number 1, The Flash Secret Files and Origins number 3, and DC First Flash and Superman number 1. Now, the stories collected in this one and Volume 2 for that matter, I have never read before. Like, all the Wally West stuff, never read. So this is all brand new stuff for me. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like, it was so damn good. I mean, the art that Scott Collins showcases in here as well. And that was the thing. Like, I really enjoyed reading these and then getting up to the current stuff and then seeing Scott Collins come back for some of the new issues just like as like a callback. I was like, I see what you did there. That's fantastic. So I really thought that was some top quality stuff. So next we have The Flash by Jeff Johns Volume 2. This collects The Flash 192 to 225 and Wonder Woman 214 plus bonus content from The Flash, The Secret of Barry Allen. Like I said, binge read all of this just back to back to back to back. Thought it was super good. Let's see here. Who is the other artist? His name is not coming to mind. Howard Porter, yeah. So there's a lot of art by Howard Porter in this one as well, which I did notice, just as Scott Collins, that into the newer stuff, he comes in as a guest artist for several issues, and it's like, I see what you did there. That's really good. It's really good. So this basically wraps up the Wally West run that Jeff Johns did. Yeah, it just straight up ends. It shows him running off into the sunset, and it says end. Volume 3, however, right here, is where the new stuff kicks in. So this is the first new Omni that I've acquired since January out of the 16 that we're going to be talking about shortly. So this one, Volume 3, let's see, collects Final Crisis Rogue's Revenge number 1 to 3, The Flash Rebirth 1 to 6, not from the current Rebirth stories, mind you. Thank you for joining. Blackest Night, The Flash 1 to 3, The Flash 2010 numbers 1 through 12, The Flash Secret Files and Origins 2010 number 1, and Flashpoint numbers 1 through 5. Now this basically contains all of the Barry Allen stuff that Jeff Johns did. And most of the stuff inside of this Omni I had read at one point or another. I don't believe everything, but the majority of the stuff that was in here I did read. So this is a lot of fun to go back to, and especially reading it in order. I thought it was fantastic. I do want to point out I do not plan on picking up the Flashpoint Omnibus just because I think that the core issues were good enough for me to know what was going on, and I didn't really care for all the side stories that Flashpoint had to offer. So I think I'm going to stick with just this one right here. But really good stuff, and I continued down my Flash adventure. Now, moving past this one, I then naturally jumped into the Flash New 52. I had read the Flash New 52 in its entirety about maybe 6 years ago, but now that I have, the Omnibus, I went back and read this. Now, this collects basically the first half of the Flash New 52. So this is the portion that's by Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato. The other ones, it's like, Brett Booth, I believe, was the artist. I can't remember who was writing it. They don't have an Omni for it as of yet, so I just went online and reread those stories after I finished this up. And it was interesting. When I initially read this, I was just like, oh, this is, it's pretty good. It's not bad, but it's not great. But reading so much Jeff Johns Flash, and then moving over to this, I was like, it's alright, it's not all that. But it was still entertaining. I still wanted to know everything that the Flash had to offer. So, still good times, nostalgic, for me. And moving from the Flash, New 52, we have the Rebirth series, the Rebirth from 2016, and I basically just read all of that in its entirety, and I'm just like, wow. Written by Joshua Williams, who did Nailbiter and some other works. So I just read all of that. Yes, I did see the Mark Waid Flash Omni coming out. I do plan on getting that as well, so I am excited for it. But 2016 Flash Rebirth, man, it was pretty good. It had, one of the things that I will say, I felt like Barry Allen in that particular series was just very he just felt like he was a crybaby, like a little too much of a crybaby in my opinion. He just seemed like, oh, everything's my fault, man. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, just, I don't know. It was still really fun. Like I said, a lot of the original artists on the Jeff Johns run, did some appearances, did some artwork for it, which was just so cool to see again, I want to say after all these years, but for them it was years. For me, it was probably just a week, because I just did not stop reading. I was burning through it. But really good stuff. I liked how the Barry Allen portion of the story, as far as I recall, I say Barry Allen portion because I think the series does transfer over back to Wally West, and I did find that kind of, I don't know, I didn't think it was Running Scared and Color Fear. Yeah, those so good. Those two stories you mentioned, so good. But I feel like, I don't know, the way that it transitioned from Barry to Wally was just kind of I didn't feel like it was executed well enough. I was very excited, and this will go into spoilers, I suppose, but Wally being back with his family, he's got his kids again. I was like, yes, finally, yes, he's got them. And then it transitions to him being Flash again. But then as soon as it kicks off, I tried to read the issues where he is the primary Flash again, wearing the red and gold, and it was just dialogue after dialogue, just word bubbles being fat AF, and just so much to read. I'm like, oh my god, what is going on here? I couldn't concentrate, and I got bored, and I really, really tried, and I was like, how did I manage to read all of this? Maybe it was burnout at that point, maybe, but yeah, the run after Williamson's, I was like, sure, it was just so hard. I don't know, maybe it was the burnout, but I felt like it just had way too much dialogue, and it just wasn't getting the point it needed to across fast enough. But I don't know, I caught up, and I was like, I don't really feel interested in pursuing this any further, which was a bummer, because I read so much to get to that point, and I was feeling good about it, and then I wasn't like that. And the in-between stories that were in there as well, I probably did read too much Flash at once. I did the same thing with Transformers last year. I just kept reading Transformers, and I was like, oh, I'm burnt. But yeah, I could have just been, I read too much Flash too fast. But the tie-in stories like that were in that Rebirth series for Flash, like The Button, which I had read years ago. I reread that. I thought it was really good. The actual Rebirth issue that was right after New 52, I had read that years ago when it first came out, but it did not have the impact that it had to when I read it now. When Wally pops out of there and Flash, Barry be hugging Wally, I was like, tears, man. That was some good stuff. So that I read that again leading into the Rebirth series, and I read The Button. What other tie-ins were there? Technically, Doomsday Clock. I had read the first maybe 6 issues. I think like the first half of Doomsday Clock when it was coming out monthly, back in the day, and I just didn't finish it. So I did go into that and read it all at once, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I didn't think it was great, like groundbreaking the way that I thought it was going to be, because I just remember hearing people like, "Oh, Doomsday Clock is just so good." It was good. It was good. Heroes in Crisis. I can see where I did hear snippets of people discussing this as well, just saying, "Oh, y'all did Wally dirty." They kind of did Wally dirty in there, yeah. Beyond Toku, what's up? But yeah, Heroes in Crisis, read that. It wasn't really good. I didn't like it because of what they did to Wally. Granted, they later on go to, I don't know if you would call it retcon or just say clarify on the whole Wally situation that occurred to maybe appease the fans, because I mean, I was upset with what they did to him. I didn't think it was good, especially to a character like him having just come back, into the DC universe with Rebirth, and then just kind of go and do him like that. I was like, bruh. But that's besides the point. Yeah, I read all of The Flash up until right now. So I am caught up with that. I do not know if I will pursue it any further, but it was really good. And I love the journey to get there. Super good stuff. Oh yeah, and straight up, like the ending that Williamson had, like the last issue, how it basically tied into issue number 1 of his run, where I was like, oh wow, I actually don't think I really paid much attention to that case that Barry was solving, towards the beginning of issue 1. Like he just kind of left that up and hanging, and how they go back at his very last issue for his run to that, and how I just full circle, bro. Full circle, so good. I was like, ooh, top tier stuff, so good. Okay, next, the next new Omni that I have not gotten a crack open just yet. It's the big one. We have Justice League Dark, New 52. This is the entire run right here. One super thick boy Omni. As you can see, shrink wrap. I have not gotten to this yet, but I plan to. Some good stuff. Well, I shouldn't say good stuff. I'm hoping it's good stuff, because I haven't read any of this. I just thought of the story and the cast of characters look really good, so I hope it's good. Fingers crossed. Alright, next one. This is one of the more recent ones. This is one out of the 2 Omnis that my boy Jason got me for my birthday. We have Superman, Batman, Volume 1. Really big book right here. Let's see. What does it collect here? This volume collects stories from Superman Batman 1 to 43, Superman Batman Annual 1 and 2, and Superman Batman Secret Files and Origins 2003, number 1. I have not read any of this. It does look like a fun read. I'm hoping it gives me some inspiration to do some Batman Superman photos with my Mofix figures. So, I am excited to crack it open. I think Volume 2 just came out maybe a month or two ago. I want to say it came out at the beginning of this year for this, unless it's a reprint, but I'm pretty sure it came out at the beginning of this year. Okay, moving on. We have the next new Omni that I've acquired. The Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 3. This collects The Amazing Spider-Man, 68 through 104. Yeah, straight up. All that goodness right in here. I do want to get volumes 1 and 2. Volume 2 just got reprinted a couple months ago, maybe a year ago at this point. I still need to get it. Volume 1 is being reprinted and will come out, I want to say, by like June or July, so I need to snag that. Volume 4 has been out of print. They have not solicited that again as of yet. I hope they do. That has the death of Captain Stacy and Gwen Stacy issues up in there, so I really want that. I want that badly. Alright, next book. The Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 5. This collects Amazing Spider-Man 143 to 180 and annual 10 through 11 and Nova number 12. Boom. Boom. Really excited to read this. I do like how they're doing the spines for these new Marvel ones, like the little image down here, and like this just looks really streamlined, the spine. I like that a lot. Alright. Well, as mentioned, I'm waiting for Volume 1, and then I'm going to get Volume 2 for these Spidey ones to just start reading everything in order, all those classic stories. So, next new Omni is Spider-Man by Roger Stern. Collecting the Spectacular Spider-Man 43 to 61, 85, and The Amazing Spider-Man 206 and 224 through 252, and annual 16 and 17. So this is a really big Omni as well. Really cool looking Battle of the Hobgoblin right there. So there's that. Alright. The rest of them are going to be lined up back here. So you're going to have to bear with me. It's a lot of stuff. This is the oldest bookshelf that I have, and I'm really scared of this. It's just going to be like, screw it, and just collapse in on itself. So I'm going to be very careful, but the rest of the Omnis are back here. All of these as well, I have not gotten a chance to read just yet. And mind you, like I said, I have been reading basically non-stop since January. So I will get to them eventually. I've just been picking them up because the sales are too good to pass up on. So I'm just going to get it to have it in my library right now. Dude, I want to get those Moon Knight Omnis too. They just, all the ones that just came out, like the original ones, book 1 and 2, and then was the David Finch one that they announced, or that just came out as well. I think this week. I want to read that so bad. It looks so intense, and I don't know anything about Moon Knight minus the Disney series, so that's why I saw those books. I'm like, okay, I need to get these eventually as well. But stay tuned, Ricky. There's a lot of good shit I'm about to show right now. Okay, so one of these books I found at Bookman's, and it was out of print. I didn't know it. I saw it there, and I was like, oh, let me just get it. I have the exact amount in trade credit that I need to get this book. And as I was like looking at the quality, I was like, let me see how much it maybe costs online, just in case I found out, oh, it's out of print, and this is actually a really good price. So decided to cop it. I didn't pay anything out of pocket, so screw it, right? So here we go. All right. We have Daredevil, The Man Without Fear by Brian Michael Bendis, Volume 1. Like I said, found this at Bookman's. Didn't pay anything out of pocket for it. And I had been wanting to get into, well, I've been wanting to get into just Marvel comics, period. That's why I've been getting a lot of Marvel Omnis, because my Marvel knowledge is not really there. It's primarily in DC books. So I just wanted to jump to something. Daredevil always appealed to me the way, like, he looked like his stories looked really fun and interesting, as well as the X-Men, which I have a lot of X-Men Omnis that I'm going to be showcasing in a second here. But Daredevil was one of them. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, this might be a good jumping on point. Granted, I do want to get the Marvel Knights Omni because it leads into this based off the numbering from what I saw online. I don't know why they didn't call it just Daredevil Omnibus something, but they called it Marvel Knights Omnibus. Whatever. But, okay. So, this collects Daredevil 16 through 19, 26 through 50, and 56 through 60. So, thought I'd get this. I had heard some good stuff as well. As soon as I picked it up at the store and was getting checked out, the dude was like, oh, you're going to love that. It's some really good stuff. And that brings me to the next book. Which is, naturally, Volume 2 by Bendis. This one was still available for, I wouldn't say cheap, but it was fairly priced on Amazon still. So, went ahead and got this one. Collects Daredevil 61 to 81. What If Karen Page Had Lived? And Ultimate Marvel Team Up, numbers 6 through 8. So, we'll be reading these. I believe this particular run is then followed by the Brubaker run, which Volume 1 is being reprinted right now to come out. It was supposed to come out towards the end of May, but I think that got pushed back towards like beginning or mid-June. So, we'll be picking that up, as well as, well, Volume 2 hasn't been solicited for a reprint as far as I'm aware, so that one's technically out of print and is a bit pricey right now, so I might wait on it. I mean, I still have so much other stuff to read that, you know, I don't have to get it immediately, so to speak, but that's the next run. And I believe after Ed Brubaker's run is the Mark Waid stories, which there are 2 books. I believe both of those are out of print as well right now. So, but I did see a couple on eBay that weren't too bad, but besides the point, I'm not going to get them right now, but that leads up into the next book. So, the next book also found this at Bookman's. It's the next Daredevil after Mark Waid, if I recall correctly. We have the Charles Soule run. Now this, found it at Bookman's. I think it was about maybe $10, $15 cheaper than Amazon / cheap graphic novels. So I was like, well, it's here. I can inspect the book. It was in great condition. So, you know, bought it. This collects, let's see, Daredevil 2015, numbers 1 through 28, and 595 to 612. Oh, so they went back to the original numbering system partway. Funny. As well as Daredevil Annual 2016, number 1, Daredevil / Punisher, 7th Circle, numbers 1 through 4, and material from All New, All Different, .1, number 1. So, nice book. I just dig the way it looks all together. Solid. So, I really can't wait to read these. Oh, you still have to read it too? Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of Daredevil stuff and X-Men stuff that I'm going to be hopefully reading soon. But right now, what was it? Oh yeah, I didn't touch base on this, but right after I finished Flash Rebirth, I jumped into Titans Rebirth because I wanted to see what other shenanigans Wally West got in with the Titans. So I read that up to like maybe issue 22 when he was no longer in the Titans stories from what I looked. So, because at that point he was just doing the crossovers with the Flash main series as well as the Heroes in Crisis, etc., etc. So, I just didn't see a point in continuing Titans, so I just stopped once I hit like issue 22. But Titans wasn't too bad. That's a tangent though. Oh, you got the variant cover? What was the variant cover? The variant cover for this one, the Charles Soule, was like the zoom in of Daredevil's like face, right? It was just like him like, ooh, just like staring or something like that. I think that's what it was. Oh, it might be the one that's underneath here. Oh yeah, the backside one. Yeah, there he is. No, I have not been getting the Captain America by Brubaker. I thought about that as well, like maybe months ago to last year when I first realized that he wrote some Captain America stuff. I was like, maybe I should get them. But at the time, I wasn't collecting the Omnis as heavily as I am now, and I just didn't really know where to begin. So I haven't gotten them yet. I think I will. Who am I kidding? I think I will. There's just so much crap to get. Okay, so we have this. Moving on. You're gonna like this one, dude. Alright. So this was the second one. Let's see. Nice. So this is the second book that Jason got me for my birthday, and it is Thor by Jason Aaron. I believe you had told me, Ricky, about this particular run, that I should read it, that it was like really, really good, and Jason had also brought it up, so he got me the first book. So, thank you for joining. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm really excited to jump into this, and it's funny because like we were at Bookman's maybe like 2 weeks ago, and they had a Thor Omni in the back, but I was like, I don't really know if I want to get into Thor right now, or if I should. I don't know what that Omni is, but I'm gonna leave. So I didn't ask to look at the book. We went the next week, and the book was still there, and I was like, shit, I kind of want to look at it, but I didn't ask for it. So when we got home, I pulled up what near mint conditions Thor reading order, and I just watched both parts 1 and 2, and I still wasn't sure which book was the one that they had at the store, because I never asked to like look at it in person. So I was like, it's whatever. And I went on Amazon and I was looking around, and I was like, oh, this sounds very familiar. Like, this sounds like the one that's been recommended to me non-stop, that if I want to get into Thor, I should read this. And I realized, well, this just came out like in April. But I was like, no, I'm not going to get into it right now. And, well, behold, gifted. So I am really excited to get into it. Especially since I guess quite a bit of the stuff that's collected in here might be in the next movie, Love and Thunder. So, and side note, went back to that Bookman's today. Whatever the Omni was that they had behind the counter was sold, so I have no clue which one that was. But whatever. Whatever. This will be a good jumping on point. So, Thor by Jason Aaron. Collecting Thor, God of Thunder, 1 through 25. Thor, 2014, 1 through 8. Thor Annual, 2015, number 1. And Thors, 1 through 4. And Mighty Thor, 2015, 1 through 12. So, have this right here. Let's just showcase the covers that we have. This is what the direct market cover would look like. So you have that in the bottom, and here's the, I don't want to take it off all the way, but that's 2 direct market variants, and this is the other one right here. And I wouldn't say that, like, at least the ones here in town, it's kind of sporadic. It's weird. Like, from what I've noticed, like in Phoenix, Mesa, those Bookman's locations tend to have Omnis quite a bit. Like, they will have, like, their cases, like, filled up with maybe, like, 4 or 5 at a time. Even Zio Records might have a couple at a time. Here, the most I've seen at any one point was probably, like, maybe 3 or 4. But more often than not, like, might be, like, 1, maybe 2, but you have to really look for them. It's kind of odd. Like they have way too many locations where they can have these in the store, like several glass cabinets. So like depending on the store, like you really have to just go through each of these glass cabinets because there's no one solid spot, or even just look to see if maybe they have one like on the shelf behind the counter. And it's just like they gotta have like one spot and that's it. But yeah, they have been getting them in steadily. It's really weird. It's really weird. All right, so this is the next newest one. All right, moving along. Everything at this point is going to be X-Men. Everything. I wanted to get into X-Men. I watched the animated series. Completely finished that. I do want to watch X-Men Evolution as well. But all of these Omnis, X-Men, I'm going to get to them. So, let's go. Alright, to kick off the X-Men books that I have, we have the X-Men, the original stuff, Volume 1. I believe this is collected in a total of 2 Omnis. The second one maybe just came out like a month or 2 ago. At least I think it was a reprint, right? So, this one collects the X-Men Volumes 1 through 31. Straight up. All of these classic stories right here. Boom. There's that. Next, the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 1. Reprint. They got the nice new spines right here. Collecting Giant Size X-Men number 1, followed by the X-Men 94 to 131 and Annual number 3. So, here's front and back. Next, the Uncanny X-Men Volume 2. Reprint. There's a spine. Collecting the X-Men 132 to 141. The Uncanny X-Men 142 through 153. Annuals 4 and 5. The Avengers Annual 10. Marvel Fanfare 1 through 4. Bizarre Adventures 27. Phoenix The Untold Story 1. And material from Marvel Team of 100 and Marvel Treasury Edition 26 through 27. You don't like the spines on the reprints? I don't know, I kind of like the spines on the reprints, and that's what's kind of got me like on the fence, because I think volumes 3 and 4 haven't been reprinted like this, so it's still like super big lettering. So if I get volumes 3 and 4, it's not going to match up with volumes 1 and 2 that I have right now, and that's kind of like, And there's a volume 5 apparently. Okay, so what you're telling me there's going to be volume 5, I didn't know that. So, they're not going to match. Probably not going to match. I hope they match. So. Alrighty. Actually, can't remember if these are from the more recent haul. No, I got those other ones some other time. Yeah, I also have X-Men by Chris Claremont 1 and 2. I don't believe this is a part of the recent haul, but I mean, I'll showcase them anyway, just because, well, I'm on this X-Men grind. So here's X-Men Volume 1. I'll read the contents because might as well. Collecting Uncanny X-Men 1963, numbers 244 to 269, X-Men Annual 1970, number 13, and Classic X-Men number 39. Volume 2, collecting X-Factor 1986, numbers 63 to 70, Uncanny X-Men 1963, numbers 273 to 280, X-Men 1991, numbers 1 through 9, and material from number 10 through 11, and Ghost Rider 1990, 26 and 27. I believe, as mentioned, volumes 1 and 2 were from a haul from like back in October, but since I'm going through these in order, why not, right? And I think this might be the last book out of this haul since my last live section from January. So we have X-Men, The Age of Apocalypse Omnibus. Pretty big book as well. So volume 5 is technically the last one to bridge that. Okay, good to know. Cool. Okay, so this last book, read the contents. Collecting Uncanny X-Men from 1981, numbers 320 to 321. X-Men from 1991, numbers 40 and 41. Cable, 1993, number 20. X-Men Alpha. Amazing X-Men, numbers 1 through 4. Astonishing X-Men from 1995, numbers 1 through 4. Factor X, numbers 1 through 4. Gambit and the Externals, number 1 through 4. Generation Next, numbers 1 through 4. Weapon X from 1995, numbers 1 through 4. Excalibur, numbers 1 through 4. X-Man, numbers 1 through 4. Jesus. X-Men Omega, Age of Apocalypse. Did I read that wrong? X-Men Omega, Age of Apocalypse, The Chosen, and X-Men Ashcan, number 2, or Ashcan? I think it's Ashcan, number 2. A lot of stuff. Basically, it's just a big ol' crossover book. So, yeah. That's the last one. Alright. Well, so that's pretty much everything that I've acquired when it comes to figures and books that I've also attempted to read as much as I can since January. There are still a lot that I need to cover. Right now, I'm currently reading the Dark Knight New 52 run. Thank you for joining. Which I think is about 30-some issues. So I'm going to finish it out real quick. And then I'm probably going to jump into the Thor Omnibus just because I have heard so many good things about it. And, well, I do want to see how it shapes the upcoming movie and go from there. And I don't know what I'll read next. Maybe Daredevil. I really want to get into Daredevil. And, yeah. But I think until then, that's going to wrap up this live session. Thank you all for joining, and I'll see you next time. Bye.